That's a good one.
Fish.
Yeah, grab that net.
Good fish.
Oh, there you go.
Good job.
Boom!
She's right up on the bank.
Choked it.
Well, as you can tell, we are in windy Texas today, and I know we've got some good fishing because it's springtime, we're in Texas, and we've got Robbie Harless who has challenged us to Benbrook Lake. And I've never fished Benbrook Lake, but I've heard some good things about it, and the stories that they've told me, you know what, I think we're gonna catch some giants today. So I'm anxious to get out with Robbie today and see what Benbrook Lake has to produce.
Hey, Brent.
Hi, Robbie.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you finally.
Well, I'm looking forward to fishing today. It's going to be great.
It feels like springtime. Got jackets on this morning, but they're saying we're going to have some good warm temperatures, and these fish ought to be spawning, aren't they, or close to it?
There's going to be fish pre, post, and spawn. Some of these fish have spawned out.
I like that. So well, I've dug some rods, dug some baits out here, and I know you're anxious to get out there, and so am I. So let's see what Benbrook Lake has to offer.
Sounds great. My name's Robbie Harless. I'm 38 years old. I'm from north central Alabama originally, been in Texas most of my life. Today we're fishing Benbrook Lake in Fort Worth, Texas. This is my home lake. I've fished here for 15 years or so. The biggest bass that I've caught out of this lake is 11 pounds. I know of a lot of fish that have come out of here quite bigger than that. I love to fish a jig. In order to produce a few numbers, we probably should be throwing small crankbaits on the rocks. But anywhere we're fishing rocks, we have to throw a jig because you can produce a giant fish at any point on this lake.
Well, Robbie, back here in this little cove, looks pretty good. You know, it's pretty flat, but that's the thing about Texas. They have these cool little windy creek channels that the fish use like a little highway. But, you know, Pro versus Joe, I'm sure you've seen it, but the rules are simple. First fish, most fish, and biggest fish. And they got to be 12 inches long is all. So sounds easy, right?
Sounds good enough.
All right, let's do this deal.
Great.
Well, Robbie, here it is. It's pretty back here. It looks very fishy. With that being said, I kind of went over the rules, but I'm going to be a good host and give you the first cast.
Sounds great.
So let's do this thing. Got the bladed jig. Well, hey, that's
That's all right. I was watching an episode last night. A guy was backlashed on the first cast.
Hey, that happened.
Caught,
that happened earlier this week, even.
Caught a fish. Was that in Georgia?
Yeah, and like I said, it happened Monday too. So don't feel bad when you get backlash today. Do they have many tournaments here?
They don't, which is wonderful.
Right.
They'll have a working man tournament. You know, and they produce some big bags in those working man tournaments.
Right.
But a lot of people, because, there we go.
Fish?
Fish.
Uh-oh, it's gonna be a close one.
Woo, I don't know, we're gonna go 12.
Yeah, I think that one's, it's the first one, but I don't think it's the...
That's an itty bitty Benbrook fish.
If you want to measure him, the board's right there.
Okay.
But I think he's...
I think he's gonna go.
He's a Benbrook baby there.
Ooh, wow, yeah, I don't know we're gonna make that. We're 11 and a quarter. I think the wind's supposed to just pick up all day.
Yeah. Nope.
Get him.
Might have been line or...
Right in there, there's actually a big pole and some brush piles.
Yeah.
So you probably were wrapping some line on that brush pile or something.
Really? Uh-oh.
This is a good fish.
Can we do it then?
I don't know that he's that big. No, he's not that big. He's only about 2.5.
Hey! You kept telling me about all these giants, so I didn't know if you had a 10-pounder, but you know what that one is? That's a very valuable fish right there. That is fish number one, and that cannot be beat. So he has definitely taken the first category. Out here in the hurricane, good job.
Brent Chapman's Pro vs. Joe, brought to you by Fulton, Waves of Innovation, Maxxis Tires, your way to adventure.
I've done well with square bill back here. Chartreuse, blackback.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh.
Get her.
Uh-oh. I got one.
Okay.
Not a bad fish. Man, this thing's fighting.
They're officially back here. Solid.
Got one. I'm on the board. So there we go. Nice male bass probably, but you know what's crazy about that is you're kind of, I think, amazed at how cold this water's gotten. You know, we've had a major cold front. It feels warm to us, but the water's 59, so it's like 10 degrees colder. I literally was just crawling that bladed jig, just barely moving, and all of a sudden it just loaded up. But you know, when you catch one fish, you know, because you've caught a lot, but now that I've caught a fish back here, my confidence level is just skyrocketed. I know what's here now. Now I know just to slow down and figure them out. And with that being said, I'm gonna take a layer off. What do you think? You think they'd have anywhere to hide if the water was up a couple more feet?
When we get towards the back of this, it gets skinnier. Good fish, good fish.
Oh, there you go. There we go. Good job. Get us up here so we don't. He was down there in the cover, wasn't he?
He was. He's right up on the bank in the
Yep.
thick stuff.
Good job. Nice
Good
fish.
fish. Little fat fish.
Yep. It amazes me when you fish in an area where there's a lot of fish bedding, especially like in Florida where you can see them real good. You can fish through there in the morning, and you know, you'll pick up a few fish on a moving bait here and there that are up roaming. But those ones that are on the beds, that it's all about water temp. When that water temp gets up there a little bit more, you know how a fish, you can throw stuff at him and he'll hardly bite. But then when that water warms up a couple degrees, what they do. You've just kind of been shaking that jig down through there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just been shaking it and just kind of, not dead sticking it, but just kind of barely jiggling it.
There we go.
Good one?
Oh yeah.
Nice fish. Good one.
Oh.
You need to get him?
Grab that net if you would. No, never mind. Never mind.
Hey, that's a nice one. A good 4 3/4 5-pounder.
Oh.
Beautiful fish. She's been spawning a little. Look at that.
Yep. You want a big fish? Just tie on a jig, right?
That's right.
I think I like Benbrook Lake. We're gonna put that one in there and weigh it here in a little while. Oh wow. I see so many fish right now. They're just. There's one. Oh!
There you go.
Get in here.
There you go. Jig?
Yep. I was about to say, maybe I need to keep a jig in my hand.
That's been the bite today.
I appreciate you turning me on to this jig bite, and I'm trying everything in my power to not catch them on a jig. Sometimes if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
That one I pitched in, he was just swimming with it. You run into many rattlesnakes around here?
I don't, surprisingly. I run into a couple, but not many.
I really want to go see some of the big old rattlesnakes. It's really interesting. I've learned that venomous snakes all float.
They swim on top.
Yeah, they swim on top, where a water snake, you know, all they'll have out of the water is their head. But whether it's a copperhead, a rattlesnake, a moccasin, they're all completely out of the water.
Pro vs. Joe, brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, silent, secure. Fraybill. Trusted gear since 1938. Plano. Protect your passion.
There's not many things to cast at right here, so let me put the power poles down. Oh, here we go. You got that net ready?
Let's get it.
That is not right. I caught him last year at Ross Barnett, man. I got way back in these pockets and I couldn't go any further. I'm like throwing them way past them. That's a good one.
Fish.
Yeah, grab that net. Oh.
There you go.
Oh,
You got him in.
got him over it.
That's about a 6-pounder probably.
Oh,
No, maybe not that
nice
big,
one,
but he's
though.
still a nice one.
boom!
Shit, it's a 5-pounder.
Frogfish.
These
Choked it.
Benbrook fish are healthy.
Robbie, I like this place.
I'm glad. It needs to show me some love now.
The old Fred frog caught him here. Ugh. Wish they'd all get hooked like that. But is this bigger than that other one?
That one's bigger. That one's close to 5. So the quality's here.
I love it. They choked the frog. Nice big healthy pre-spawn bass. We're gonna put him in the live well for a bit and we'll weigh him here and see who's got the biggest. So there you have it. The water warms up a little bit and these fish start to move up and they get set up to where they get more aggressive. And you know, here in the last 30 minutes, caught 2 jig fish and a frogfish. So I would suspect this afternoon it's just gonna do nothing but get better. But as those fish get up in there, a lot of times you can't pitch a bait in there to where you need, and like that, like there, I can really cover a lot of water with that frog. So I threw it out there, worked it, and man, it just ate it. But that's why it's important to have nice heavy braided line, 60-pound braid. And I mean, you saw, once you hook a fish like that, the best thing you can do is just try to horse them as much as you possibly can. And I was able to keep that fish's head up and keep it out of the brush. If I'd have let it get down, it would have got me in the brush and we'd have been out of luck. But we got to do that again. Oh! I bet you
pretty
throw
sweet.
a frog in here next time, won't you?
I may very well.
Robbie, you know, here we've made a pass all the way up this and we've obviously made it up as far as we can go. But I'll tell you what, I'm twice as confident headed out now because now we've had some bites, we're kind of confident, we know what to look for and what to throw. So let's make the pass out of this thing now. Let's make it
Catch a few
the one
more
that
fish.
really counts.
That's right.
If I can get out of here. All right,
All right,
let's
another
stick
one.
a couple right through here.
That's fish.
Oh,
Look at there.
boom.
Well, I don't think I've got to convince you on quality out here.
Robbie, I like this place. Holy cow. I told you, as soon as it warms up, these fish are gonna start biting. But that's pretty impressive when a 3 1/4 pounder is an average fish out here. There's nothing like fishing in Texas.
Come on, I've caught big ones on this little flat here.
There we go, look at that, way out
good
there.
fish?
Gosh darn it, did I lose him? No,
Sweet.
not a big one, but it's a keeper.
Just catch
That
it
is
on the jig.
crazy, on a jig. You know, we were just talking about how these fish are biting that jig,
They like it.
and we're pitching that thing in there. By the time you raise it up, they're already 20 feet to the side, you know?
Yep.
Pretty nice buck bass. Warming up.
Pro versus Joe, brought to you by Sportsman's Shake. Power your obsession. Garmin Panoptics, all-seeing sonar. Join the pros who switch to Garmin. Pro versus Joe, brought to you by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Pitbull Cutters, the best braided line cutters, period.
I'm just doing this to appease AC so he doesn't yell at me later. Uh-oh, uh-oh!
Is that a big one? Ruh-roh.
Not a big one. Nice one.
You didn't call that or anything, did you?
Better than I thought.
On a spinnerbait.
Thanks to the cameraman, we caught one on a spinnerbait. Sometimes it's good to listen to the cameraman. Robbie?
I'm working, man.
These are nice fish here. I'm not trying to hog up all the fish. So it's your turn. Let's save the biggest for Robbie here. I'm okay if you catch one bigger than me. Fish?
No.
Uh-oh! Little guy.
Right on the point. That's your spinnerbait?
On the spinnerbait again.
Well, crud.
Right in that little grass. I don't know. They got to be 12 inches. We haven't really put one on the board. I don't think that's...
I bet you that's 12 inches.
It might be.
It's bigger than my first one. I bet he's barely.
He looks like a barely more than... That is what you call a 12 and an 1/8 inch fish. So it's not a big one, but we can actually add it to the mark.
Squeaker.
I think this all has to do with water temp.
Just spooked the fish.
It's been definitely a learning experience of a season so far.
Oh, see that?
Teeny tiny guy. I got an 8.
An 8-incher.
An 8-incher.
That's going to be a 2-minute penalty.
Yeah. Oh, these are the worst for that too. Hey.
Finally.
And you got one that
Finally.
yours is bigger. That one's a keeper, isn't it? Let's see. Let me see. Let's check it. I'm sure
he's 13.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 13.
Fine.
He called it.
Finally.
You want to let him go?
You go ahead.
Good deal.
Bait. That's bait.
You know, it's always interests me too is when you watch a football team. The Chiefs are famous for it. They play mediocre football until the last 2 minutes when they have to move the ball.
And then they start rolling.
And you know, it's even myself. I've noticed. I'm like, man, if I could just fish all day like I fished those last 30 minutes sometimes, where I just start running and hitting the most obvious stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I fish faster, and sometimes fishing faster is a good way to help find those fish, or at least find the more aggressive ones. All right, last cast right here. It'd be fun to catch 2 big ones. Well, darn it, but it was fun. Oh, what a day. I would have to say we worked hard, didn't we?
We absolutely worked hard.
I don't know about you though, I had a good time. You know, really enjoyed it. You definitely caught the first fish, and like I said, once you put that one in the boat, you definitely can't take that away from you. And like I said, we had to work real hard, but we stuck with it and finally, you know, figured out how to catch some fish. I owe you a big thanks for turning me onto a jig. I can't believe somebody had to show me those jigs. You know, you caught that first jig fish and had another one get off, and finally when I picked up that jig, things really started to click for me. But what a blast. I know you've said just from talking to you that the fishing's usually a lot better, but I think we've clearly seen that this water's gotten so cold And as the day progressed, it warmed up, and the fishing definitely warmed up with it. But with that being said, the sun's going down, and I don't know about you, but I'm ready for dinner.
I'm ready.
All right, but hey, it was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it.
I really did. Thank you so much.
Certainly. I got to say, Benbrook was a lot of fun today. I was glad Robbie challenged us, made us come down here to Texas where it was actually springtime weather. Right before we got here, there was a little bit of a cold front that had come through and really knocked the water temp back. So it started out slow for us. Robbie did catch that very most important first fish of the day.
We got the first fish of the day, which is very, very important fish. All it takes is one bite. You know, we were one big bite away from having the second category, which is the big bass.
But there for a little while, I was really beginning to wonder if this place had fish in it.
The wind was blowing 20 to 30 is what the forecast said today, and so it really limited us in having an opportunity to catch some better fish.
As the day progressed, the fishing just got better and better. The fish got more active.
I stuck with that jig just because I have so much confidence in catching the big fish. But, you know, it paid off. We put most of our fish in the boat with the jig.
He caught a nice fish on the jig, and he had a couple unfortunately come unbuttoned on the jig. And I put that jig on and immediately caught the big fish of the day and proceeded to catch several nice fish on it. And then as the day heated up, I even got a frog bite. Any day you can catch a frogfish is just an awesome day.
I highly recommend, if you feel like you can catch some fish, go ahead and give Brent a challenge. Show everybody else that you can catch some fish too.